Hello everyone, and welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. If you're looking for the full story, you've come to the right place. Before we jump in, make sure you're subscribed and share this video so you don't miss any of the twists we're about to unpack. Thank you for being here. Tonight, the silence that hovered for years around Alina and Navruz finally cracked. After a long stretch of keeping his private life off the record, Alp spoke openly for the first time about what happened between him and Alina. Not just as co-stars, but as two people who were once incredibly close. Fans who adored their harmony on screen and watched their kindness off camera couldn't help but suspect that there was more than friendship between them. The mystery around why they stopped appearing together only fed that curiosity. And now, Alp's words have poured gasoline on a fire that never really went out. You'll remember how their series made them one of the most adored duos of recent years. The long glances, the quiet gestures between takes, the easy laughter, all of it felt too natural to be simply acting. People whispered that their connection had spilled off set. Yet both stood firm with the same gentle answer: we're close, we're supportive, we're just friends. It felt honest, but it also left a question hanging in the air. If everything was so good, why did they drift apart in the years that followed? In an interview that surprised even seasoned industry watchers, Alp finally let the guard drop. He didn't give a rehearsed speech. He spoke like a man who had carried a story on his back for too long. He said that Alina had been a defining presence in his life for a long time. He talked about late nights after long shoots, about moments nobody sees, when fame fades and real life asks for patience, strength, and gentleness. He said he showed up for her. That he tried to be solid when things got heavy around her, both professionally and personally. And then he delivered the line that has reverberated through every corner of social media: he didn't walk away, she did. He didn't say it in anger. He didn't shout. He simply laid it out. He had wanted to keep what they had, whether you call it a relationship or a bond, a brief romance or a friendship that edged into something more. He fought to preserve it. He wanted more time. But Alina, according to him, decided to close the book. Listening to him, it was clear those words were not casual. They'd been sitting in his chest for a long time. The internet erupted. Within hours, his quotes became trending headlines. Fans split into camps as quickly as the edit of a teaser trailer. On one side were those who felt Alp had finally done what he'd been pushed to do: say what truly happened. To them, there was dignity in his calm tone, in the way he avoided accusations and kept the focus on his own experience. They praised his honesty and called him brave for acknowledging feelings he'd never confirmed in public. On the other side were those who questioned the timing and the exposure. Why speak now? Why talk about a private exit in public? For them, it felt too raw, too intimate to be processed on a press day. Some described the statement as heavy-handed. Others defended Alina's right to make a choice for her own life without being drawn into a public tug-of-war. As the debate heated, one thing became clear: this wasn't just gossip. It was a real story, with real weight, and real hearts under pressure. What about Alina? That silence many associate with her elegance has continued. According to people said to be close to her, she was surprised by the directness of Alp's remarks. Those same whispers claim she does not want to magnify this, that she intends to keep the temperature down rather than turn this into a spectacle. Is that silence a sign of restraint? Is it patience? Is it emotion held behind glass? Nobody outside her trusted circle knows for sure. But her quiet has become part of the story. To understand why this moment hits so hard, think back to their early days together. When they worked side by side, it wasn't just their chemistry that people noticed, it was their ease. He had the measured steadiness that made her feel safe, she had that bright, alert energy that made him warmer on screen. They supported each other's projects and interviews without being flashy about it. They respected the craft, the crew, the work. And then, slowly, the appearances together faded. They stopped being seen at the same gatherings. They no longer posted about each other's premieres. The silence spread like frost over a window, not obvious at first, but impossible to ignore once the light hit it. Alp's interview changed that. He framed it carefully. He admitted how important Alina had been to him without turning his memories into a weapon. He talked about holding on when life started tugging at loose threads. He said that while he tried to keep their connection intact, trying alone isn't always enough. He confessed that he'd hoped for a different ending, but in the end, the decision wasn't his to make. When he said she chose to step away, the room, and now the internet, felt the weight of that sentence. The reactions weren't limited to fans. Industry insiders, those who watched them grow from promising talents into marquee names, began to trade notes. Some remembered the mood on set, how they took rehearsals seriously, how they gave space to one another after intense scenes, how often they insisted on doing one more take to make a moment land honestly. Others mentioned the gentle loyalty they showed behind the scenes. It wasn't performative. It was lived in. That's why the cooling of their bond never felt like a stunt. It felt like a fracture no one wanted to name. While Alp's words keep echoing, Alina's restraint has sparked another wave of speculation. Is she protecting her peace? Is she choosing not to let a private timeline be rewritten by public opinion? Or is she simply waiting until the noise dies down before she either answers or lets the dust settle on its own? People close to her insist she's not indifferent. She's just careful. She's been that way her entire career, deliberate, measured, allowing the work to speak louder than any headline. This isn't the first time a beloved duo has been pulled into the undertow of public curiosity, but there's something about this story that feels unusually tender. Maybe it's because the audience didn't invent their connection, they witnessed it. Maybe it's because both of them cultivated reputations for grace. No messy outbursts, no public feuds, no performative shade. When clean reputations collide with a confession like this, the effect is double-edged. You admire the honesty. You mourn the loss. You wonder what might have happened if timing had been kinder. Of course, whispers about what went wrong have multiplied. Work schedules clashing, the pressure of constant attention, the weight of assumptions, all of these can grind down even the strongest bond. There are reports that at some point they started walking on eggshells, afraid that any gesture would be read as a confession. There's talk of long conversations that circled around the same questions. What are we? What do we do with this? How do we keep it safe? Sometimes the questions answer themselves, by ending the conversation. And then there's the matter of the years that passed without commentary. Alp's choice to speak now suggests he needed distance to find the right words. He didn't tell a story to score points. He sounded like someone finally closing an unfinished chapter, even as he left the door not fully shut. He pointed to the truth as he sees it. He tried, she decided to leave it behind. That's not a grievance. It's a marker on the road they once shared. Fans are now combing through old clips, searching for hidden meanings in scenes that once felt purely cinematic. That tilt of a smile, that pause before a line, that softening of tone, were those hints? Or are we just reading backwards through a lens of longing? Either way, those scenes now feel charged in a different way. They're time capsules, proof that for a brief stretch, two actors made something together that felt like home to millions of viewers. Will Alina respond? That's the question sitting at the center of this whirlwind. Some say she'll stick to her path and never address it, letting the dignity of silence perform its own kind of closure. Others predict a thoughtful statement, calm, balanced, respectful, that won't reopen wounds but will put borders around the story. There's even a romantic camp holding onto a tiny spark. What if this is the conversation that finally clears the air between them? Not to reheat the past, but to ease the tension and allow a simple, honest friendship to exist again. What happens next may depend on whether both of them still see value in reclaiming some of what was good. So much of the pain in stories like this comes from the shadow of could have been. Alp's admission suggests he still holds appreciation for what they shared, even as he admits he was left holding on after she let go. Alina's reserve suggests she's protecting the very thing that once made them special, a private space where not everything is for public consumption. One thing is certain, their legacy as a pair on screen remains intact. No confession can erase the quality of their work. If anything, knowing what may have been swirling under the surface adds texture to those scenes. It reminds us that behind the glow of the lens are two people negotiating timelines, fears, ambitions, and the relentless noise that fame brings to something as delicate as affection. As the dust settles, the industry waits. Friends will choose their words carefully. Colleagues will offer hugs in green rooms and nods in corridors. Publicists will quietly update their strategies. And fans, the same fans who fell in love with the way they looked at each other across a crowded frame, will keep replaying clips and asking the same simple question: were we imagining it, or was it real? Alp has told his truth. Alina, for now, lets the silence be her response. This chapter didn't end with fireworks. It closed with a calm voice saying, "I tried," and a quiet echo suggesting, "I chose to go." The beauty of their story is that it never depended on a label to feel meaningful. Sometimes love is a set of choices no one else can see. Sometimes friendship is a boat that drifts to shore and never sails back out. And sometimes the most honest goodbye is the one that doesn't announce itself, it just arrives, soft as a curtain falling between two scenes. We will be watching. Not to fan the flames, but to see whether this moment becomes an ending or an opening. Will there be a message, a meeting, a small gesture that says, "We're okay"? Or will the chapter remain sealed, cherished for what it gave while it lasted? Whatever comes, remember this: stories like theirs stay with us not because they're perfect, but because they're human. That's why tonight feels less like gossip and more like a confession around a shared campfire. Thank you for watching Secrets Behind the Stars. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and share so more people can join the conversation. Until next time, take care and keep your eyes on the stars. They always have more to tell us.